Yeah, we just came back from Stanford. Had some pretty good racing out there. We went out, won 2 out of 3 events. So we won our smaller boats and the 4 and the double. Had a pretty good race in the 8, which is kind of the premier event. So, yeah, our team is young and learning how to race with more intensity and kind of learning what it takes to be a championship caliber team. And it's something we've put a lot of emphasis on since our coaching staff turned over a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, and we're working to build off of that. So, yeah.
Can you talk about the trials and tribulations of this past week? And I know it took a while to get to Stanford, and you moved the race day back a day. Just kind of. Is it a bonding experience? I'm assuming it becomes a fun thing at some point because it has to be. But
yeah. Bonding in moments. Well, at the time, you don't really feel like you're bonding because everyone's pretty miserable. Traveling is pretty tough on you. But I told the girls, we're going to be able to look back on this in a few days, in a few weeks, and laugh about it, even though we're all kind of hurting right now. But yeah, we were supposed to race Saturday morning. That's when the regatta was scheduled. We were flying out Thursday afternoon. We had a connection in Dallas. We landed in Dallas, and it started hailing, which I didn't know this, but cancels everything. Like if it hails, because they have to check the planes, I guess, for damage. So all the flights got canceled. That was at 10 p.m. on Thursday night when we were supposed to fly to San Francisco. So then DFW is a big airport with a lot of flights, so everyone was trying to get a hotel and rebook. And yeah, we stayed at a Great Wolf Lodge, which is a great hotel. No water slides for us, but we got into the hotel lobby a little after midnight. Yeah, Wisconsin Dells, it's a great hotel if you've never been. But yeah, that was the only hotel that had rooms that could fit our team in the area, unless we wanted to stay at like a Motel 8. So we stayed in Dallas, and the next morning we booked our flights. The only flight we could get out to California was out of Austin. So we rented cars, drove 3.5 hours from Dallas to Austin Friday midday. Our afternoon flight out of Austin got canceled. So then we rebooked Saturday night or Friday night. Made it to San Francisco Friday night. Landed shortly after 10 p.m. local time. So that's after midnight for us. Got to the hotel. Glad we made it. Got situated. But yeah, it's challenging. It took us 36 hours to get there. And then we had 24 hours to prepare to race once we were there. It's difficult in our sport. We have an endurance-based sport. Your body needs to be in pretty prime position to perform. Any travel is hard. 36-hour travel with that many pivots and speed bumps is even harder. So I would say we're not a team that makes excuses. We're not going to say this isn't the reason we didn't win one of the 3 events. But it was difficult, and we acknowledge that, and I think the team responded really well. We used Saturday to kind of reset. We got some practices in, and Sunday morning woke up ready to go. Yeah, we put our best foot forward. But yeah, that's kind of the Wisconsin way, is what I hear. You make stuff work, and so yeah, that's what we did.
Playing a little bit off of that, you guys train a lot throughout the fall and the spring, and you race 4, 5, 6 times. Like, is that rowing is hard? Why do people do it? Like, that's a lot of work for a little payoff. I know the men's soccer coach before was talking about only getting 5 games in. Like,
yeah. That's one of the downsides of our sport. To be honest, we're very limited in our competition opportunities. And there's obviously a lot of travel. You need a waterway to race, so that limits, competition sites. And then, when you kind of have these travel woes, it sucks. It sucks because this is one of your, maybe 5, 6, 7 races all year, and you hit some speed bumps, and so that's unfortunate. But yeah, that's kind of the nature of our sport. I like to say this sport attracts a little crazy. You got to be a little crazy to be in it because realistically, you're training 20 hours a week all year. September to June is our year, and you get to compete 7 times. So it's a big commitment, and our athletes make a lot of sacrifices, and it's something we take pride in. But yeah, it's kind of the nature of the sport, unfortunately. Luckily, we compete a lot more in the spring, and that's kind of our championship time. But yeah, the fall, I kind of like to say, is a little kind of preseason-y in my eyes. You know, you're doing a lot more preparation and kind of setting the tone for the year and getting ready for the spring. So it's a challenge, but it's the nature of the business. And yeah, that's why you got to make the most out of every opportunity you get.
How has the weather been for you guys this spring? It was, you had the great stretch, ice off the lake, and now it's, kind of back to Wisconsin weather.
Yeah, but there's still ice off the lake, so no complaints. 2 weeks ago we had that week of like 70s, which I'm sure we all cured all of our seasonal depression quickly, and then we kind of got cold again. But yeah, no, I mean, like I said, these athletes are tough. Our team's tough. Our sport attracts crazy, and we'll row in 20 degrees. I mean, as long as the water is liquid, we'll be out there, and there's no thunder, and the wind's not too bad. But yeah, no, I mean, you roll with it, roll with what Madison weather brings you, and you make the most of this time. You make the most of this time. When that ice breaks, it's foot on the gas. We have a short window of opportunity to pick up as much speed as possible and make the most out of our spring season. So,
Talk about all the work you put in. What's the progress been this year for the team? Long year. You talked about being young. I think your varsity vote doesn't even have a senior in it. Mm-hmm. Just talk about the progress you guys have made through all this work.
Yeah. I mean, this is my second year here at Wisconsin. The last time the Wisconsin lightweight rowing team won a national championship was 2009. I'm very determined to get this program back there, and I can tell you just in the last few years, there wasn't a lot of success. So the team didn't experience winning, and that's a hard thing to not experience, because then, like you said, it's a long season. What am I training for? If we're not having success, why am I putting in 20 hours a week? 9 months out of the year, and some of them still train in the summer. Most of them do, so 12 months out of the year. So there was challenges coming into it, but I would say over the last year and a half, we've made a lot of really good strides. The group is young, and they're learning how to win. They're learning how to be competitors. Yep, our varsity 8 this past weekend didn't have a single senior in it. Had 2 freshmen in it. So I would say we're very poised for the next few years and even the next few weeks, next few months, to keep kind of building. That's kind of what we've been talking about. We know where we want to get to. We know what we want to do. We know how we're going to do it. It takes time. And that's one of the challenges, when you get punched in the face and, you lose a race, doubt always creeps in. But that's kind of that time where, you got to kind of stay determined, keep trusting what you're doing. And stay committed to the process. And I'm very confident, we'll get to where we want to be. But Rome wasn't built in a day. You have to grind to work your way to the top. It's not easy to be at the top. It's not easy to stay at the top. But we're making a lot of really good progress, and we're excited with where the team's going and the progress we've even made in the last year and a half. It's a exciting time to be a Badger for sure.
Can you talk about one of the people that helps you make progress? Vicky Opitz is an assistant coach. Obviously, her resume is amazing as a rower.
Yeah.
What does she help? How does she help your team progress?
Yeah. I don't even know where to start. Vicky is truly an exceptional person, an exceptional athlete, a Wisconsin rowing alum. She graduated in 2010, and she is a force. She's a force. Something that's really interesting with our sport, in the sport of rowing, is I like to think our elite athletes, the Olympians, a lot of them have egos. And some of that stems from, like I just talked about, all the grind you put in, and then you get there. So yeah, you're gonna have a little bit of an inflated ego. Vicky has none of that. For someone who's a two-time Olympian, former world record holder, multiple world championships, Wisconsin alum, she's just such a genuine person. She's like extremely humble. She hates talking about herself. She's a role model for our athletes, and I know between the lightweights, the open weights, everyone, she's just an idol, and she makes a big impact on our boathouse, makes a big impact on our team, open weights and lightweights, and always there. You know, when we had our travel woes this weekend and I was on the brink of cracking, you know, Vicky kept me grounded, and yeah, you know, I'm thankful for her. I'm really glad she came on and joined us last October. I hope she is loving Madison and she sticks around, but we're very lucky to have her on our staff, and she's just awesome. I can't say enough.
You have two big meets coming up this season. Talk about Eastern sprints, and then you have some time off before IRAs. So how can you use that time to your best advantage?
Yeah, Eastern Sprints is kind of our conference champs. You know, it's not called Big Tens, but lightweight rowing is a little different. But yeah, that's a big one for us. It is kind of a short week. You know, we landed back in Madison last night around 11 p.m. And we fly out Friday morning. So we'll head out to Boston. So it's also West Coast, East Coast. So that's a challenge in itself, but we'll use this week to fine tune. We had some good racing, good experience, good team bonding, good travel woes. You know, hopefully we got all of that out of the way now. And we'll use this week as best we can to get ready to race this weekend. And we'll see a lot of really good competition. And yeah, like I said, we'll just continue to kind of push and hoping for good results at sprints. But, you know, like you said, we have a long winter. So I always like to say we pick up a lot of speed through the spring when we get back on the water. So that month between sprints and IRAs is crucial for us. You know, that's very valuable. It's obviously we're approaching summertime in Madison, so we'll get our best weather. It's also nice because, you know, finals, they get through finals, classes stop. So it really allows the team to kind of lock in and focus on rowing and focus on the postseason. And that's a perk for us. So we'll make the most of it. It'll be a really good month for us. And yeah, looking to turn some heads once we get to IRAs.